So the 25th of July has just been passed. Today's the 27th, and that date actually marks a pretty important anniversary in this country. It went by with no media attention, no sort of commemoration, nothing, zilch. And yet its significance is actually pretty profound. I'm going to read out what that was. On this day, 411 years ago, on July the 25th, 1603, King James VI of Scotland was officially crowned King James I of England, in concurrence, becoming in de facto the first King of Great Britain and Ireland in what became known subsequently as the Union of the Crowns. With no direct male nor female heir, the last Tudor monarch, Queen Elizabeth I, acquiesced to her Stuart relative, through her father Henry VIII's eldest sister Margaret Tudor, whom had during the 1588 Spanish Armada conflict assured her of his support of your natural son and compatriot of your country to succeed her as monarch, paving the way for the House of Stuart to become the first royal house to ever reign over the British Isles in entirety, a position they would occupy for the next 111 years. King James would ultimately rule as King of England, Scotland and Ireland for 22 years, preside over the first truly successful translation of the Bible into English, a version still in active use under his name, the King James Bible, brought about an end in 1604 to the Anglo-Spanish War, and would survive 3 plots against him, including the 5th of November plot, to this day the largest single act of terrorism ever thwarted in Britain. That's also known as the Gunpowder Plot. He was also the king to approve the final design of what became the Union flag, which would incorporate the St. Patrick's Saltire of Ireland in 1804 to create the flag of the United Kingdom that we know today. It's commonly known as the Union Jack, but the actual name is the Union flag. The Union Jack is more a naval insignia. Though not successful during his own lifetime in his endeavours to consolidate his dual monarchy into a single unified Kingdom of Britain, he would ultimately attain his aspiration with the Acts of Union in 1707, making Queen Anne, coincidentally the last Stuart monarch, the first de jure Queen of Great Britain and Ireland, and today Queen Elizabeth II is the Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and despite common overseas myths, her title is not and never has been Queen of England. Okay, I'm reading that directly from a Better Together source, an affiliate of Better Together, because it's all relevant. In my opinion, we should have a national day instituted in this country to mark something to do with the Acts of Union, whether it be the Union of the Crowns or the later Acts of Union, and have a unified national British Day. Almost every other country in the world has one. In France there's Bastille Day. In the United States there's Independence Day. In China there's the 1st of October, which is the day that the People's Republic of China was declared. As far as I know, every major country has a national day, or most major countries. I'm not sure what the situation in Germany is, maybe Reunification Day, I don't know. But the United Kingdom continues to be one of the major countries that does not have a single national day. There is national days for England, for Scotland, for Northern Ireland and for Wales. Northern Ireland should say Ireland generally, St. Patrick's Day, but there is no single British Day, and I think that's very sad. During the premiership of Gordon Brown there were moves to make this happen, but it didn't quite transpire. To Brown's credit, he tried to do that, and so have others, but it's never quite hit the public imagination in the way that I believe it should. So when this referendum thing is sorted out, hopefully when the United Kingdom remains in one place, then I think we should seriously think about celebrating our unity as a nation. Not taking away from the fact that England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland are different places, but under one union. You know, I think one of the Scottish nationalist fears about the union, one reason they hate the union, is this perception that it is against Scottish culture, that it sort of destroys the idea of Scottish identity. But I think that's a phony argument, because if you look at many of the world's great nations, there's internal diversity within them in terms of culture. The United States has 50 very different states. China has, I believe, it's 32 provinces and regions, all of them culturally very different, and 56 ethnic groups, I might add. Similar examples can be found all over the world. So just because England and Scotland have numerous cultural differences does not mean that that is something alone which means we should break apart. 411 years of British unity. 411 years. That means that this concept of British unity is a much older idea than the actual span of most modern countries. So if this referendum was to go for Scottish independence, that means we would be the first country in modern times, first Western country in modern times, to voluntarily break itself apart. And I think that would be an absolute tragedy. I've made no secret of the fact that I'm a unionist. And incidentally, this is not intended as a hardcore monarchist video. I don't consider myself a sycophantic monarchist. In fact, I'm quite sympathetic to some Republican ideas. It's not about that. It's about the country. It's about the unity of Britain. King James I, 6th, happened to be the king who was the first British monarch, truly British monarch in that sense. King Arthur is semi-legendary, and he's very important in the matter of Britain, but we can't automatically regard him as a historical figure. And anyway, at that time Scotland was still Pict land. It was still a confederation of Pictish tribes, and the time that was King Arthur's era, England wasn't unified. So it's, although Arthur is seen as very important in the matter of Britain, he wasn't, and he was a British king in that sense. He was semi-legendary. So in this sense, King James I, King James VI was the first truly British monarch. There's another thing they didn't add there about his time in office. He also introduced smoking. That's not here or there, it's just another fun fact. He popularised smoking in Britain. There was also a period of witch burning and witch hunting at that time, which was pretty disgraceful. As a king, James had a mixed record, I think. One of his great achievements was, of course, the unity of Britain, but there was other flaws in his tenure. Also, he was an absolute monarch, which is a form of dictatorship, so that goes without saying. But Scottish nationalists cannot use that sort of thing as to give themselves moral high ground, because the Scottish kings of old were pretty absolute as well. So it's not a case of, that was the way monarchy was in those days. But the point here is 411 years of British unity, and it's something I really believe that we need to mark much more. I believe every 25th of July maybe we should have a national day, and I might well consider making a petition or something about this. If I indeed do that, I'll put a link on this video. If you agree with me, please sign it. Thank you.